hero of our worst childhoods, a good spirit of Sarajevo, and a hope during the siege. Dragan Bursac, a journalist from Banja Luka, said, "Travel, Jovan, to a better world. You have done your human duties with the highest possible grades, and you taught us until your last breath how to be better people." Psychologist Ibrahim Prohic wrote that Divjak was a counterpoint against the mentality of the last 30 years. He fought against everything which was against a human. Bosanska Krupa named him a respected citizen of their city, which is a great respect for their community as well. Jovan Divjak was born in Belgrade, and considering that his father was from Bosanska Krupa, Divjak nationally stated that he was a Bosnian, which he pointed out every time when he was in the media. He finished in the 12th grade of the academy, war school, and the military academy in Belgrade. Of course, we want to remind you that he was a teacher in the military school in Sarajevo until the war, when he was a commandeer in the territorial defense, and he became a general and deputy of the general headquarters of military of Bosnia and Herzegovina. When he saw that the Yugoslav National Army was arming the Serbian military forces, he had decided to give the weapons from Kasarna barracks to Bosnian army so that Yugoslav National Army would not misuse it. Military court of Yugoslav National Army has sentenced him to 9 months in prison because he gave the weapons to territorial defense of Bosnia and Herzegovina, but he was not imprisoned because he left the Yugoslav National Army and went to the Army of Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina. At 2 p.m., we should hear Mehmet Agic, who is a friend and a comrade of Jovan Divjak and who has worked with him for a number of years. Apart from Mehmet Agic, we should also hear from a journalist, Ariana Sarajevic-Helach, her last regards. Respected, I'm Mehmet Agic. By Jovan's words, I was his pre-war, wartime, and post-war friend. Allow me to give my condolences, the most sincere ones, to the family and friends of Jovan Divjak, a great respecter of the idea of Bosnia and Herzegovina. As if Jovan was whispering to me, "Go out, Meho, and give your condolences to all those who have recently lost their lives fighting the coronavirus. My connection with the general, philanthropist, a friend, has been lasting for 31 years. 10 before the war, and they need to be mentioned since we fought together for the idea of Bosnia, which will be made according to all the people who live in it. And the following 20 years, in the association, Education Builds Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is his and our joint magnificent work, and that I hope will continue with its work following his departure. Želimir, Vladimir, Nora, Gregor, with you, all of us, and all the people here, and many people who are not here and could not have been here, we share your sorrow, and we are very sorry about Jovan's departure. Jovan, at this moment, I speak to you as a soldier and as a citizen, and I know very well that you felt closer to the title of citizens, not because you did not earn all the military respect from the fellow soldiers, but the idea of the citizens was much closer to you and is much dearer to me. Today, Jovan, your beloved city is in sorrow. Many people are in sorrow. Maybe there are even some who aren't, but that is not important. They are in sorrow for a man who became a symbol of the most noble characteristics a man can have. That is the point. A symbol, according to our merits, goes with you. There are others, but we need to highlight you. For days, Jovan, the citizens, in different ways, through all the networks the contemporary technology has set up, and in different ways, they have been saying many great things about your life, and I want not to repeat them here, so I'm not too pathetic. I will just mention a few of them: a patriot, a hero, a defender, a friend, a comrade, a humanist, a visionary. All the things every adult, like me, for example, would like to be at the end of their life. And for youth, if they want to hear about an inspiration in life, he should be the inspiration, and they should try and aspire to be like Jovan Divjak. We see you, Jovan, calmly sleeping under the flag of Bosnia and Herzegovina and getting ready to embrace the earth, the soil you loved with all your heart, the country for whose freedom and prosperity you devoted an immense part of your life to. The esteemed citizens, a great man, a Bosnian and a Herzegovinian, a true patriot and a philanthropist, an anti-fascist, a retired general of the Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the executive director of Education Builds Bosnia and Herzegovina, is remembered by me and by you, by his ability to overcome all obstacles in peace and in wartime, to achieve all the goals, but yet to stay recognizable and close to the people, communicative, spiritual, and devoted to a man during his entire life. Edo, Mersiha, Melina, Renka, Sanin, all this entire team which worked with them can tell us many stories about him. He succeeded, Jovan succeeded, in doing many things many people did not believe were possible, and notice that he achieved the integration of a professional soldier and a philanthropist of a humanist. This unusual symbiosis of opposites did not offer many chances for success, but Jovan would not be who he was if he had given up during the wartime and in peace, performing his duties towards Bosnia and Herzegovina and to succeed in all areas of his engagement. He is the sheer idea of success. We can only imagine a soldier who graduated from all the highest military schools available at the time, participating in wartime decision-making process, making the most difficult decision, who finds the time at the same time to visit the fighters at the front lines, and at the same time founding an association which will take care of children who lost their parents, and a man who thinks and worries about the future of the country he fights for. I believe that you expect me to sing phrases as it is customary on this occasion, but I will not. It is not the time for this. But also, all of you know about Jovan. I would rather, if you allow me, and because it is the truth, I would point out a few important facts as a reminder to all of us, and which allow us to understand why he became a symbol and a favorite citizen of Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the world. He chose, my dear friends, and he didn't have to, in the spring of 1992, to stand against the force and hatred and to be among the first one in the lines with the defenders of the internationally recognized state of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and to stay devoted to the soldier's oath until the end of the war. Many of you, I see you here, should be celebrated in glory. Not long after that, let's remember the event and Jovan's worldwide recognized "Don't Shoot." It was not in vain. This "Don't Shoot" was a scream. It went across the world and across the planet, and the world realized that there is an army of and that there is someone who will not demonstrate their heroism on someone who is unable to defend themselves at that moment. Second, Jovan did not hesitate to clearly oppose the prosecution, abuse, and killing of Serbs and other citizens who were not uh, charged with any crimes, and he defended their right to life. He stated, if needed, they can undergo trials, but do not kill them. He did not defend them because they were Serbs, but he defended the army of Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina from criminal behavior and criminal acts, that this behavior is not a pattern which is to be followed in the future, and succeeded. You know, many of you who are older, you know what has happened after that. He wrote and he asked, why is the platform of Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina presidency from June 1992 neglected? Why did he write it? Well, this platform with time lost the idea of multi-ethnic character of the army of Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina, which needed to be stemmed. If he had only done these few things I mentioned due to time constraints, the general, the humanist Jovan Divjak did, it was enough to achieve this honorable position in history. He deserved to be celebrated and respected by the honorable people and all of us and all the people who believe in peace worldwide. And I just want to say a few more words. He was a hero. He deserved to be a hero. The Bosnian hero who was awarded by Prince, and in Bergamo, he received Takunda Award in Strasbourg. He received Lafayette Medal, and even city of Sarajevo awarded him. I will not mention the state. The state with its division cannot award him and will not. And if the time comes, I will appeal, yes, give recognition to Jovan because he deserved it. As if Jovan was in my ear reminding me, give another sentence, say another sentence, Miho. Tell people, discard egotism, discard your prejudice, discard the hatred, love. People love each other. From his life and from my life, I know that it is much harder to love than to hate, but everyone can hate. And people, true people, can only love. People with their hearts and soul are deserving of human race. Thank you, Jovan, for these words and for reminding me. Dear Jovan, you fulfilled your duties as a soldier and as a citizen towards Bosnia and Herzegovina and its citizens. I would give you the highest possible grade. Thank you. May glory be upon you, and thank you. Rest in peace. May the Bosnian soil be light upon you, and I hope that Bosnian Herzegovinians will not forget Jovan's association. Education builds Bosnia and Herzegovina and will continue supporting it.
U pismu koje Jovan Divjak
In the letter written by Jovan Divjak addressing all of us, he thanks, among other things, thank you for coming and sending me off to a better world, as is said in a tradition of one people. I found this world to be very joyful, pleasant, and rich. I know that you were broken by the sorrow of our parting, as I am while I'm writing this. I have attended hundreds of funerals where the chosen individuals said all the nicest things about the deceased. All the best is to be said about the deceased, as is the custom in the people. Jovan Divjak says in the letter addressed to us. He added that he thinks that it is natural that he, Jovan Divjak, speaks of himself.
Dragi sugrađani i sugrađanke.
My dear fellow citizens, citizens of Bosnia and Herzegovina and the world, I'm here to, in the name of all of us, to tell you and to tell Mr. Divjak one more time that we love him and that we love him immensely and that we say our farewell with love, sadness, and with many wonderful memories remaining in our thoughts, in our hearts. Mr. Divjak inspired us to live our lives honestly and with dignity. We watched him do it. He worked for a better society, for the community. He was devoted to his association, to his fighters, and to us ordinary people, to all of us in Sarajevo and in Bosnia and Herzegovina. His motto was the power of community, which is built through knowledge and education, culture, arts, tolerance and understanding, truth, bravery, dignity, goodness, empathy, and with an attitude. Jovan Divjak was always on the side of the weaker. He always protected them. For us, he was strength, and I'm certain that he knew and that he left knowing that he was ours and that he will always be one of us. He was a great one. He was so honest and he went easily under the rainbow. So, Mr. Divjak, as Antic says, fly away, dream, run, dream of a dawn even during the night, with sorrow and respect. Forever, your Sarajevo. Heal. Salute. Arms. Charge.
No, svi! No, stajanje! Počasni! Ko! Zdrav!
The state of Bosnia and Herzegovina pays their respect.
Una mattina mi son svegliato, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Una mattina mi son svegliato e ho trovato l'invasor. Una mattina mi son svegliato e ho trovato l'invasor. Oh partigiano, portami via. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Oh partigiano, portami via, che mi sento di morire. Oh partigiano, portami via, che mi sento di morire. E se io muoio da partigiano, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. E se io muoio da partigiano, tu mi devi seppellire. Mi seppellirai lassù in montagna, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Mi seppellirai lassù in montagna, sotto l'ombra di un bel fior. Mi seppellirai lassù in montagna, sotto l'ombra di un bel fior. Tutte le genti che passeranno. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, 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 tutte le genti che passeranno mi diranno che bel fior. Tutte le genti che passeranno mi diranno che bel fior. E questo è il fiore del partigiano. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. E questo è il fiore del partigiano morto per la libertà. E questo è il fiore del partigiano morto per la libertà.
U ovim trenucima pročitat
At
ćemo
these moments, we will read the letter of Jovan Divjak addressed to all of us. Thank you for coming here to send me off to a better world, as it is said in the tradition of one people. I found this world to be pleasant, joyful, and rich. I know that you were crushed and broken with the sorrow of our parting, as I am while I'm writing this. I have attended hundreds of funerals where the chosen individuals said the nicest things about the deceased. All the best is to be said about the deceased, as is the custom in the people. I think it is natural that I, Jovan Divjak, speak of myself, and this will be read by one of my friends who is courageous enough to read this speech with emotion but without a single tear. The funeral speeches usually would begin with, "He was a good man." Well, all of you here know what I was like. I was this way and that way, but I'm sure that I was moral, honest, a human in the greatest meaning of the word, and modest, of course. That is how I was brought up in the family of my mother Emilia and father Dusan. That is how my wife Vera and I had raised Želimir and Vladimir. And the highlight of my life was when my grandson Gregor stated in a note he wrote, "Grandpa, I'm proud of you." I was born in a hospital in Belgrade in 1937, and my life with my parents led me from the Šuvajići village on the Dunav banks near Smederevo to Jablanica village near Bosanska Krupa, where my father was a teacher and where my sister Nada was born in 1940. My father worked in Romania in Bela Crkva in Bosna Krajina region, where I started primary school. I graduated from primary and secondary school in Zrenjanin. My courageous mother obtained a divorce and struggled to provide for our three-member family, and she nudged me to the military academy in Belgrade since she couldn't pay for my studies. I served in Tito's Guard in Belgrade. I spent some years in military school in Paris, and I served in Sarajevo since February 1966. I graduated from Staff and Commanding Academy and War School while I served as a commander of Pitomacha Battalion, a tactics teacher, and a head of tactics department in the education center in Marshal Tito military barracks in Sarajevo. In the period between 1984 and 1989, I served as a commander of territorial defense, Mostar district, and between 1989 and 1991 as a commander of territorial defense, Sarajevo district. Let me boast, I received high grades for performing these duties. Since April 8, 1992, I serve as an operative, deputy commander of territorial defense Bosnia and Herzegovina, and in different functions in the headquarters of the Armed Forces of Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina, where I stayed until March 1st, 1997. Dear members of the Bosnian and Herzegovinian army, it is up to you to judge me as a soldier, professional, a human, and a co-militant. Remember me as such and tell it to your loved ones. It was the most honorable period of my professional life. Highly esteemed members of Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina Army, be proud of your contribution in defending Bosnia and Herzegovina within its historical borders and preserving the secular and citizen multicultural community. Raise your families upon these foundations. We did not take anything from anyone nor prevent them in having private assets. The most valuable contribution in the last 27 years is that we jointly helped in education of children and youth of Bosnia and Herzegovina through stipends, study and education trips in 18 European states, Uruguay, Canada, summer holidays, inclusions in Boračko Lake for children of war victims, children with disabilities, children with special needs, and youth from Republika Srpska entity. 7,300 of them received a stipend. Over 4,500 of them traveled for summer and winter holidays. I wish to thank everyone from the association beneficiaries who received a grain of knowledge from Merciha, Melina, Edo, Mejo, and me during the last quarter of a century. A young person who is educated and raised well can be of use to themselves, their families, and society. Take the good things you have learned in the house of law, and those things you do not deem fit, just reject them. I wish to thank you, the youth present here, for becoming independent people with families and successful in your professions. My dear Sarajevans, half a century among you, from my neighbors, hairdressers, tailor, shopkeepers, market sellers, news agents, those of you who work in institutions of culture, art, sports, a humongous thank you. I was one of you, with you, come rain or shine. There are no better people, apart from a few that my wife, Vera, and I had the warmest communication with. Thank you. The days of my life in Sarajevo were days of love, mutual respect, and appreciation. I apologize if I hurt anyone. That was not my intention. Forgive me or give me halal, as you say, in this region. I have shed a tear, a moment before I closed my eyes. You can shed a tear now, too. May I rest in peace and happiness of Bosnian soil with the love I take with me. Your Jovan, a true Bosnian and Herzegovinian.
Hvala, gospodine Jovane.
Thank you, Mr. Jovan, man with a great M. Thank you in the name of all Sarajevans and Bosnian and Herzegovinians. May you rest in peace and may the Bosnian soil be a light upon you.
Poštovani gledaoci, danas je Sarajevo i Bosna i
Respected viewers, today Sarajevo and Bosnia and Herzegovina has said their farewell to Jovan Divjak. His funeral was on Sarajevo Cemetery, Bare, and the commemorative service was today at the National Theatre in Sarajevo. Our Jovan Divjak, he loved and respected work, art, friendship, love, and these are the main messages he always sent to us: to love each other, to respect each other. He knew how hard it was to love, and he always insisted on this mutual love that our Bosnia and Herzegovina is and remains as it always was, a community of all the peoples living in it, working together for its better future. And for this reason, it was that he had, with his friends, founded the Education Builds Bosnia and Herzegovina Association with a clear message that only educated young people can move forward to new victories in life and build Bosnia and Herzegovina as with its prosperity for all the people living in it. Bosnia and Herzegovina, he, as a member of the Bosnian army, together with his co-militants, defended from the aggressors who attacked it in 1992. He defended Sarajevo, he defended Bosnia and Herzegovina. We have to one more point out his contribution for the multi-ethnic nature of Bosnia and Herzegovina. He did not want to go into politics, but he decided to go in education and educate young people because we put this country in the hands of young educated people. We will just remind you of some of the numerous awards Jovan Divjak had received as a great humanist. 6th April Award of Sarajevo. He is the first Bosnian and Herzegovinian to be awarded with the Legion of Honor in France, then in Strasbourg, Lafayette Medal, then a plate of League of Humanists, Tacunda Award in Italy, Builder of Peace in Catalonia by the Catalonian National Institute for Peace. We remind you that Valentininsko said that Jovan Divjak is best described by the video from Dobrovoljačka Street where he states, "Do not shoot." We will also say that the French philosopher Bernard Henri Lévy, who was here in Sarajevo during the war, he said that he was the only man he had called my general during his life. We remind you that the choice Jovan Divjak made in early 1990s was a question of humanistic and ethical choice, and his sensibility for humanity in post-war time until the last day. He spent them worrying about the most important issues in Sarajevo, his city, and in this country, Bosnia and Herzegovina. He bears the light of peace and education with the hope that the experience of war never is repeated anywhere to anyone. Today, our Jovan Divjak has left, but his acts will continue to speak volumes of him and his contribution to Bosnia and Herzegovina. He was primarily a good man and a great Bosnian who continued during his life working on an independent and citizen Bosnia and Herzegovina. We will briefly remain here on Sarajevo Cemetery, Bare, where the funeral of Jovan Divjak is taking place.
Poštovani gledatelji, gledali ste direktan prenos sahrane Jovana Divjaka. Hvala na pažnji. Doviđenja.
Thank you for your attention. This was a direct line with the funeral of Jovan Divjak. Thank you and goodbye.